Hey everybody, welcome to the Combo Wombo podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Gimpy, joined by the one, the only Chipped Monk. What's up, brother?
What's happening, man?
Dude, a lot and nothing.
Yeah.
But let me get to the a lot, dude.
Oh, what's happening?
Your boy finally got to play some games. I got to play some VR,
a lot of games?
Dude. Got to play some VR. Oh, man. I am exhausted, dude.
Dang.
So the roguelike Until You Fall has like this event going on. It's launching on PSVR 2. Shout out to you guys, the Schnell Games, for a successful launch on PSVR 2.
Nice.
Brings the console version to have complete parity with PC, and they're doing this like event over the summer where you try and get a higher score on a run using the same items that like popular content creators for the community do. So kind of like, you know, just this is a challenge. So I was doing that, and then I realized that some like there's like a sword and then like a dagger or whatever that this guy did the run with, and I'm like, okay, I have those two weapons. I could probably do that. And as I'm going through, I'm like, this is hard as shit. I was playing for like 2-3 hours, right? And this dude got like his Aether at the end is kind of how you judge. You get to like the same spot in the roguelike, and then you get to the same like a higher Aether level, which is like the in-game currency. And I'm like god damn, this is tough. And I'm like, you know, just fucking flailing around. My arms are fucking dead today. And then I look at the vid again, and I realize that his weapons are all like level 10, which is like the highest level you can get in the game. And mine are, one is 7 and the other is 4, so I'm like at a disadvantage on
It's
this.
facts, man.
So I'm like, I probably got to grind these weapons up. But I had a lot of fun with it, man. I gotta say, it's cool doing that. You just have to. It's just like a single player game. You're just recording yourself and you send it in, and they're not even like doing. It's like whoever gets the highest or whatever. They're just doing, you know, whoever gets past the streamer, and they'll select a random 10. So it's a, you know, I mean, kind of a fair gamble, but I like the game's fun, and it's fun having like a kind of a goal outside of just beating the game, you know. So I was having a good time with that, man. The other thing is Steam Next Fest was our Summerfest or whatever was kind of like last week, and a couple of VR games were on the docket, and Grimlord I wanted to specifically shout out. We've talked on the pod quite a bit about how I've been wanting like a Dark Souls-esque VR experience, right? Where it's really hard. It's physics-based combat, and it doesn't let me. I can't just waggle my controller to you know, completely kill people. And Grimlord has provided that, dude. I played the demo. It was fantastic. The early access launch happened this week. I haven't picked it up yet, but I just want to do a special shout out to that game, saying that we did it, boys. We finally have like a full Souls-like experience where you're getting, you know, like the Souls gameplay loop where
you're just rolling around in your carpet over there, just in the basement.
They have a dodge. I didn't do that, but you know, they have a dodge in the game. But
where get my invincible frames.
You're you know, looking for patterns on the boss fights, like true boss fights. The regular enemies, if you're not careful, they can kill your ass. If you die, all of your experience points, you know, your souls, as it were, are just where you were. So you have to kind of backtrack and get them, or you lose everything. So kind of that gameplay loop and that fear is all present. You know, you can't invade other people, which that's kind of a lot to ask for VR. Just give me the base game, and then we'll go from there. But Grimlord, fucking just chef's kiss, dude. Fucking great.
Hot take: Dark Souls is just a shoot 'em up. Changed my mind.
You're taking so off base. We're just gonna have to leave it at that. It's just a madman. But
I feel like everyone, if you really think about it for 2 seconds, you're like, yeah, damn, Chip's right again.
But yeah, man,
pattern recognition, kind of one life. Your power-ups drop when you die. You have to go collect them in a hail of gunfire. It's just shoot 'em ups, dude. Always has been. Yeah, God, look at you.
It's a very similar loop. Yeah,
it's just added the third dimension, dude.
It's pretty true. Yeah, but you know, I gotta say I've been enjoying that. Um, you yourself have been grinding like fucking crazy.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into that, but before we do, I feel that's gonna be like a big topic today.
Is it, dude?
There's a couple of things I want to touch on and get your opinion on, but before we do, I just wanted to update. I did sit and start doing the character design for my platform, my auto runner for the kids.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you were telling me about it a little bit last week. I don't
yeah,
know if we talked about it on the pod or not, but
no,
you're
we
like,
might,
yeah, you
yeah,
might know, who cares?
we might
Yeah, you
have,
said
yeah,
you're like
but
going through looking at sprite sheets and like
yep,
dialing
yep.
in your processes and all this stuff, and you've
Yep.
been
So I got one
doing
run
that whenever you had a
cycle
moment.
completely done.
Oh, dang.
I'm gonna do my son's run cycle next,
You
and
working on this on the PC, or do you got
on the
some sort
PC.
of weird Steam Deck
No,
software
no, no,
you're
no, no.
working?
I'm working on another PC.
All right,
Um,
all right.
I ended up putting uh, programs on my laptop too, so I can just work on it in the living
Oh,
room
wow.
while I'm just chilling. So, which using the touchpad to do that shit, pain in the ass, but I'm still working on it, So
Yeah.
it was all right. But yeah, slow and steady. And then I realized that with the auto runner part, I have the objects in, but I never put the sprites in. And there's just like placeholders, like squares and like circles, like
Yeah.
bombarding you. And I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably do that. So
Dang.
I assume after we're done recording here, we'll play a little bit of VR because the kids are sleeping, so we'll definitely do that, and then make a little breakfast right after, and then just sit down on the couch. It's kind of a gloomy day out right now, and just hammer out some more sprites and get that done. So that's the plan. That's the
Decent.
plan. The other game that I had an idea about that I told you about, my kind of training game, let's call it for now, before I give the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah.
I laid out a base engine for it as well.
Oh, dang, nice.
Yeah. So I know how to do what I want to do. So I was just gonna write like a bigger like kind of design doc on my goals, not like a
Yeah.
full one, but just like so I don't forget anything. And I think that
Yeah.
would actually be a decent project to get me out of my funk and maybe get me back into things. Maybe
Yeah.
just
I don't
kickstart
know.
it.
I've just been because you've asked me before. It's like, damn, well, how you working on stuff so much? I'm like, I've just been doing like what's fun. Because you're like, why are you making this stuff? I'm like, I'm just doing it for the love of the game. I think there's, I don't know. I think there's merit to that. Just like, even if I don't like finish anything, as long as I just keep working on stuff. I don't know. Like maybe it's like a hamster on a treadmill type of situation where like you just kind of spin in a circle, but it definitely feels like I don't know, like you gotta know like your own processes and like how best you work. And I know like I usually can only focus on a single project for about a month before I'm like I get burnt out on it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, the way I've been trying to combat that is just like switching up projects faster.
Yeah.
And if like something's not interesting or like if I can't finish it, then I'm just like, all right, next thing. I don't know. It's been kind of working. I've finished like some smaller stuff, and I'm starting to work on like slightly bigger stuff. So
yeah, the project you're working on now is one of the bigger projects you've done in a year and a half, really.
I don't know. It doesn't feel that way though. It's weird because I've just been
because scale wise it is.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit of enormity to it, but like because of that, like I've just been focusing on single systems, and I'll work on that.
Mm-hmm.
And like that, it's almost like a game inside of itself is like each little system instead of like looking at the whole picture, the whole pie.
Got it. Yeah, definitely.
So it's like I spend like a week on one system, now I'm on another system, and
yeah, definitely. So that's kind of what's up with me. Let's get into you. So Chip's been working on a top down, let's say it's like GTA 2 style camera movement.
Sure.
I don't even know what to call it. It's like a real estate sim, right?
It's like it's a send up, dude. Of like I don't know. Maybe we talked about this before. I've talked about it to other people, but like every time like a really nice game comes out, but it's like too cluttered. Everyone's like, man, I'm basically just looking down at this goddamn mini map the whole time.
Yeah,
and like everyone everywhere always
is what you have.
yeah. So I was like, everyone thinks the same damn thing. Like I'm like, why don't I just make the mini map the game? I was like, it's essentially the same thing. So I just started blocking everything out as like a 2D mini map using like traditional iconography, but like you could imagine it in the 3D world. So yeah, there's like you buy different real estate things. So you get like return on investment. Like I don't know. I'm not sure what the genre is. I call it like a slice of life 30-day sim.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't know.
Okay.
A lot of
I
like
like
the
that.
OG like Newgrounds games were like this. Some
Yeah,
dating
live sims
sims are
are
like
definitely
this.
yeah.
I think like Boyfriend Dungeons kind of like this, where it's like you have 30 days of do a romance, make money. I know like to me the main inspirations that old TI-85 drug dealer game where you have 30 days to like pay off your debt, make as much money as you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like yeah, I think like a lot of people like kind of like ape that like 30-day timer, and then it's just make money as fast as you can. So the main gameplay loop is what I've been focusing on. So it's like you can buy properties to get like a return on investment every single day to get like some sort of ROI, and there's like different percentages. So I built like a whole real estate system behind the scenes. And then like the other is just like buying and selling. Even the traditional drug dealer game is drugs, but I'm just like, because I'm using like 2D sprites and like a map, I'm like, I just want to make this like easily recognizable and talk in like a shared language of gaming. So I just have like common, uncommon, rare, mythical,
Got it.
legendary, epic, this type of stuff. So it's like a same icon, and like you're just delivering packages with different colors on it to other like stores to buy and sell those. So I just finished up that store system last night. Pretty happy about that. Yeah, and then like I also added combat in because that was like the first thing I did. Like I said, I was like, what if I added a gun? And
Yeah.
I was like, why did I do this? Like I don't know. It's like it just feels like games are supposed to have guns. I guess I don't know.
Will you
It's
take the
weird.
gun out?
Nah, because I feel like you need like some sort of reprise from that gameplay loop.
Sure.
There's also gonna be like some sort of like jobs where you can work. What's that other game? Punch Club? Is that it where you like go around beating up people?
Yeah.
It's also kind of like a 30-day style sim life game.
Yeah.
You know,
Very true.
so it's yeah. So I wanted like different rivals and stuff. Like at some point like the scale gets too ridiculous, but like in the back of my head, I'm like that would be nice. That'd be fun to do. And like right now, I'm just aiming for that MVP, the minimum viable product. So I got the core gameplay loop is like buy real estate, buy and sell items, work job, eat foods, make it to 30 days, pay off some sort of debt. That's it. I have weapons in there, have enemy AI in there. None of it works quite yet together. I don't have them all in the same scene together, but they're there. They work, just not to get mashed up yet. So yeah. And then so I finished the main gameplay loop, and then after that I was like, all right, I want to add like combat encounters where you can make more money, steal their packages. And then if I want to take it a step further, you'd be able to like pull out of the mini map and then set markers around the place. And I don't know why other games don't do that. Probably because it's hard. Because like I like the idea, but I have no idea how to implement it. It's like finite state machines for the state of the world, and then like where like you can set an objective marker, and then I just like ask the player like, what are you hoping to find here?
Okay.
So they can be like exploration, combat, missions, and then I can change up like the finite state machine of like different AI. Where like if you go over there and be like, hey, I'm looking for like a bargain, people be like, oh man, I heard like this is on sale, but it's over like on this part of the city. So then you know where to go.
Sure.
But it can just kind of all be kept in like a general quest log. I don't know. I've been watching too much GDC talks, I think. So
so the project you're working on, it just outside looking in. You said you're going for the minimum viable product. It also seems like you are dangerously very close to feature creep as well.
yeah, no, it's a fine line.
How are you combating that with yourself?
Like I said, I just broke it down to systems, and then like I literally wrote down like what the core loop is.
Okay.
So like it's kind of like a carrot stick situation. Even like with my Snake game where we talked about like adding in like 3D and like all this other shit to that, I was like, what's the core gameplay loop? What am I hoping to accomplish? Finish that first, and then after like, because we always talk about like video games as an iterative process, and the last 10% takes as long as the first 90%.
Yes.
And I think what people don't really say ever, because I've been doing way more like programming lately, is programming isn't like your right or wrong answer. It's like a gradient. So there's like really like if you looked at it as like a white and black gradient and like black was like the correct answer and like white was like this is wrong, like a 1 and a 0.
Yep.
You can be anywhere in the middle and it's fine. It'll kind of work.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but it's like there's like a best optimal solution, and then like you don't necessarily need to get there. I don't know. I
Okay.
was talking with my bro yesterday. We wanted to have like a brunch,
Yeah.
and he was talking about like a design principle in programming. It's called like you ain't gonna need it. So it's like Yongle or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. And so don't over design like what you're scripting, because if you're not going to use it, don't build it, type of thing.
Sure.
So only build things when you deem it necessary to
Yeah.
add it.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then there's like the dry principle of programs, like don't repeat yourself. So yeah, so if you like you're using the same code in a bunch of places, like it should be like in a single place that calls it from all other places, type of thing.
Yes. 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 In my
Oh,
day job, there's actually some legacy code that's just repeated over and over again. That it's just in too
yeah,
many places right now to actually do anything about it. But that's like the goal, is to make it just call it one place. I
yeah,
can't say exactly which place it's in because it's a very important part to the system. But
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like
That's
even
very
as simple as
important.
something as like the buying and selling, like it
Yes.
repeated. Like I've like had two buttons at first, and I was like, nobody, fuck it, nobody wants to just click, 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 click. Just add a buy all, sell all button, because fuck you. Like if you don't do that in your game, like it's pretty ridiculous. Like I know, like even like in AAA games, like you see this in. I'm gonna pick on Cyberpunk, even though they've been bullied to death. If you're
Yeah.
in their crafting system, you can only craft like one fucking thing at a time. Like you see this in like, like Diablo or like whatever else. Like you can only drink one potion at a time, or like Breath of the Wild,
Sure.
where it's like you can only eat one fucking snack at a time. It's like, bitch, just let me hit max health. Just give me a button that just says like eat to max health, and then
Sure.
like take
You're cutting
away.
out the middleman. Yeah.
Yeah, like why are you fucking wasting my time?
Would you
So I
say
don't.
that, like in Diablo's case, where you can just kind of tap it a bunch of times to?
Yeah.
Would you say that adds to the like the release of endorphins because hitting a button's fun, like in the back of the mind? Would you, or do you think it's lazy design?
Uh, it's hard design. Like that's the problem, right? Because like they've had like there's somebody broke it down on YouTube where the design team was like dealing specifically with that problem of how do I balance off combat encounters with like healing. And so they did like a ton of back and forth, and then there's like they added delays. They did this. They tried multiple things to like, like again, it's not like a black or white. It's a gradient. So it's like you have to iterate to like the best solution for the design you're trying to implement. So it's like harder when it's like an active combat thing. It's harder like if you're trying to heal things. It's like a reward risk situation.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's lazy fucking design. But it's like a hard. It's hard.
It's because I was gonna say like sometimes if you're trying to like like manage how many health pots you have left, you're only gonna pop like one or two just to sort of kind of get you over the hump. You don't necessarily need to be at full life the entire time. There's also certain skills in games that I've played where you have to kind of have like below 50% health to have optimal damage or whatever. So I remember like I fucking wish I knew what game it was, but I haven't had a sword of like poison that I equipped that wherever I used the sword it like hurt me, and then I had like a regenerative health ring that kept healing me every second. So it was trying to keep me at that 50% at all times, So
always.
So
yeah, I know like Path of Exile has like a lot of stuff like that.
Okay, sure.
Where it's like if you're like below a certain percent health, like I was watching a boy, Mr. Crab. He was like doing runs where like he's like trying to thread the needle of like if I get below like 30% health, then like all my crit chances go up, and then I have like another item. And he's just like you either like are destroying entire waves of enemies, or you're getting like one shot because like it doesn't proc. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. There's solutions to the problems. A lot of it though too is not necessarily fun, but like people, it depends on the experience the end user's trying to get. And when like you get into like a AAA territory, you're trying to appeal to the widest audience possible, and that leads to like what I would like to call the pussification of games, where it's like we can't have you dying all the time. That would make people feel bad. It's like maybe they would stop dying all the time if they stopped doing dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? They're like, I'm just gonna keep spamming health pots and running in. I'm gonna do a Leroy Jenkins, and it's like, no, this is kind of like a well thought out combat encounter system, and like you have to take your time and like actually plan out your moves. You're not just gonna be okay if you come in here guns blazing, but they're like, nah, man. Most people just want to go gun. Everyone wants the power fantasy, and that's okay. They're hard design solutions to come to, and like a lot of thought goes into it. I'm not trying to, you know,
This is just
disparage
your
anyone.
opinion on it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
of course, of course.
I'm never be like, oh, you know, I don't know. This also comes back to a little bit of like, I was watching people talk about like how they design a game in general, and like a lot of people do what you do and like lay it out on paper.
Yes.
I don't know. I just kind of start with like a core mechanic, and then I go in and start building it, just because it's such an iterative process.
Sure.
I was more the Nintendo style, like the camera character control first, and then like I think of like what the gameplay loop is and try and start building around that. But I don't know. It's maybe that's an excuse to be lazy though too. So
it could be, but it's working for you. So you know who's to say. I've seen people who've made like card games and deck strategy games literally like make the card game in hand and play it with people before they digitize it. So I mean, there's something to be said. There's different methods
like
for each genre. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Well, with our last 10 minutes here on the pod, I wanted to get into a question for you that's kind of been brought up, and it's being talked about in the industry again, with the success of Battlebit remastered, the Battlefield-like game with using like voxel and polygonal based graphics. Very simple, but 254 players, and it's $15 of just Battlefield carnage, and it's the second most played game on Steam, right behind CS:GO at the time of
I've
this.
seen it. I was like, we should see if the boys want to get into it, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was watching all the people play on YouTube's, and I was like, by the time I was done watching somebody play for 20 minutes, I was like, I think I'm good.
So what put you off of it?
It just felt like another Battlefield game. Like I was, I'm not to disparage Battlefield, but like those are fun. Like when you're rolling with like, I think they have like 8-man crews. So if we were rolling with an 8-man crew, it'd probably be fun. I'd have fun.
Battlefield has 4-man crews at this point.
Yeah, so it does everything Battlefield does, but better, dude. That's
100%.
The beauty of it. Like
what's nice too is you can have platoons, I guess, too. So 8-man crews, but you can all be in the same platoon. So
yeah,
it sounds more
could be
fun
mobbing deep.
About it. Yeah, right.
Deep, I don't know, man. Yeah, it's cool that I think the guys who made it worked on it for like 7 years or something crazy like that. So
sounds about right. Yeah, it's 3 dudes. 3 dudes.
Yeah, so humongous undertaking.
But here's one of the things I wanted to highlight, and this is kind of the big conversation industry wide, and kind of that game was at the center of it as an example. Every single AAA game, without fail, if it's multiplayer, has included some sort of microtransaction. Typically a battle pass, typically a season pass. Every single game is coming out as a software as service, we've spoken about this on the pod before, and we've kind of we took an ambivalent approach to it, but I'm going to take a little harsher approach now, and I don't want to hear your thoughts. I think there are two things right now killing multiplayer games. It's esport focus and games as a service focus. And they kind of go hand in hand. So let's give the esports focus first. The esports crowd for your game, they are not the main point of your game. Designing your game around esports is, I think, you're just shooting yourself in the foot, and you're not caring about the general player, right? Like, you don't need to tune things specifically for esport and just leave the common man out of it. I think you could do like little iterative things to help, but you don't need to tune your entire game around it. And this is what killed Overwatch. This is what's keeping Overwatch 2 dead, outside of like the shitty business practices they've had in general for that game. But they're clearly geared towards an esports style, and then they completely changed their gameplay whole philosophy up. It's going from 6 players to 5 players. Some champs to this day are still not viable in the entire fucking game.
Yeah,
and it's because of like just no foresight to and
They're not in the meta, bro.
yeah, and then they're not in the and like the esport meta. So and then you have battle
You'll get
passes. So instead of focusing on game balance, they're focusing on giving me fucking cosmetics, and just bullshit to get my dollar. There's it's like if you're doing carrot and like the on a string or whatever, like to lead you. That carrot's about this big, dude. About like it's like a 2 inch long carrot. It's not gonna fill you. You know what I mean?
you can't do nothing with that.
And I feel
Perfectly reasonable sized carrot. It's a baby
and I
carrot.
feel and I feel like other games, like I'll use Battlefield 2042 as an example, a game that I think that EA and Dice have gone and completely overhauled and made it great. I'm pushing about 80 something hours on the game right now. I'm actually absolutely adoring it. But its battle pass system, it's mostly cosmetics, and Battlefield's such a big game where I'm like, you can just make this unlocks. I don't feel a reason, like there's no reason for me to pay for this ever. And
Just use a lot with like Halo.
like some of this shit could be going towards, you could use that resource towards other things instead of these shitty cosmetics. Most of the cosmetics suck ass as well. Like on top of everything else, they suck. So I think that the like a lot of games are just shoehorning these battle passes in with zero thought, dude. If we look at Halo, every single piece of cosmetic that came out from Halo 5 till now are shit.
True.
Like, no new maps. It's just cosmetic after cosmetic. No new gameplay. There's been no reason to purchase the battle pass. Like I see like some certain free to play games where like Valorant, League of Legends, stuff like that, where I guess League of Legends doesn't have a battle pass, but where like cosmetics kind of fuel the game and keep it going. Sure, but
yeah, I don't know. Like even like you see things like Bungie with like Destiny. You see like them all, like the fan base of Destiny is like super pissed because they did the same shit with they switched up like how they do cosmetics, things that used to be included with the battle pass. They like broke off piecemeal into other shit. Yeah. And then like I was watching like a GDC talk with the one of the designers at Bungie, and he was like, "We used to have a sign on our office that said we make games we want to play. We got rid of that sign because this is like bringing communities together or some shit like that." And then like you also see like you mentioned like funding the game, and a lot of Destiny 2 fans are fucking pissed because they haven't been updating, they haven't been making new shit, and then they announced Marathon, so they're like, so we're just funding Marathon now? And I'm like, yeah, you are. You're funding their next game.
Yeah, but on top of that too, like there's just like it's just I feel it's scummy because Destiny made like let's say like close to $1 billion on cosmetics alone, right? You can keep Destiny going. You can work on the next Destiny, and games are not created like that. Like games are kind of like how movies are created, where you have one set product, you have one set goal, and if it does well, you continue supporting it until you have your player base stops playing it. And then like if you go from the late 90s method of id Software, you wait like a decade, and then you release it open source, and you just give it to the fans. It's theirs now, which I believe which was the greatest model. Like Quake 3's open source, Doom open source, all that shit. Fantastic model. But typically like movies, when movies get done with a theatrical run, and then they have a home media release and all that. True. The only other way you're making money on that movie is people buying that or people streaming it and you selling the streaming rights. But that movie's just like big pie. It's gone. It's gone. Like they had that budget.
Get one chance.
Games are very similar, where they have a set budget and you go for it. You get your marketing and all that. You
hundreds of
millions.
Sales,
you hope for that, right? And then you hope to keep the community. I could see having like something to entice people. That's what like expansion packs were for and things like that. A lot of times keeping it free, it's because you made a shit ton of money on like the front end of your game, and there's just like you're just keep continually giving to the community. You get another project at the studio, and you branch off the teams. Like you have a skeleton crew working on the old game, and you should, if you're a good enough business person, you would have enough resources to do this. Like I don't know what happened in gaming to where everyone got greedy as fuck, and it seems like
shareholders.
You're all like, apparently there's never any money, so you need microtransactions. Bullshit, 100% bullshit. So you skeleton crew on the other game, and then you keep that going, you keep the community going, and you work on your next thing and hope it does well. And guess what? If that game sucks ass and people are still playing your old game, you still have goodwill with the community, so they can put some resources into that game and then keep it going. Like Unreal Tournament 2003 to 2004, arguably an expansion pack, but the money that they made in 2003 and the problems that people had with 03, 04 was a glorified expansion pack. But guess what? You bought that; it was a lower price, and it had the exact same thing from 03 to 04, and you weren't losing out on anything.
True.
So
Yeah, you can see how they treated like the new Unreal Tournament as well, where they kept announcing it. They're working on it. They were taking community feedback. People were helping design levels and weapons for it. And then Fortnite took off, and then they're like waited like almost a year and a half in silence. They didn't do any community announcements, and then they just were like, "Oh yeah, we're done with that project." Like they just people were still like helping out, giving feedback and like designs and shit for like a year and a half in the community, and they're just like, "Nah, fuck that community. Like you're not going to release this. You're not going to make it open source. Nah." We're a big heartless corporation. We love money. Even like shareholders were complaining about like Call of Duty, the latest one, where they're like, it's not making enough money, even though it's making
billions of dollars. Yeah. At what point is enough, right? Like at what point
never enough.
Like even if your game's successful, it's like they're like, it only made this. You were the number one game for 3 months, and you made literally billions of dollars, but we could have made trillions. Like fuck you. So here's my thought. And
it's an infinite growth mindset. It's legally they have to be trying to make as much money as possible for the shareholders. And then like once you open up the can of worms, like you can't put it back in. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
so
you're right.
So like legislation comes in and like fucking is like, no, cut it out. With like,
here's the thing though, right?
You fucking surprise mechanics.
You're right. You should make as much money as you can for your shareholders, right? Like that's what you're supposed to do. That's the goal. But everyone has a set goal. So give me that set goal, and then do what you will. No one's using a set goal. They're using they use an estimate, and then they use goalposts. They're like, well, I did this, so we're gonna go boom, 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 and the goalposts always move. And then
always gotta get bigger.
So well, wrapping up here, dude. I just want your opinion on that.
One quick thought about esports as well. What they do to ruin games. Mechanically, you talk about like Overwatch, you get like League of Legends, a lot, like especially like role-based games, like Valorant, where like if you're playing like any off-meta pick, dude, people get fucking pissed. They're like, this isn't what they're doing on the esports. It's like, bitch, we're in bronze and silver. Like it doesn't matter. Like, let me play can I play the character I want to play? Can I play the guy I enjoy playing? No, it's not what they're doing in the LCS. Like,
right.
It gets fucking dumb. Like it leads to a very toxic, like even if like
it fosters, I don't know, unrealistic ideals in the community at all levels,
and like gameplay, right? Like it doesn't matter. Like at a certain level, like normal people, like as long as you're mechanically sound, and if like you play a character you really enjoy and you're good with them, you'll probably do fine. Like, and that's probably why you enjoy playing that character. It's like 70-80% of the time you're fine, and then like most of the time when you're going to lose, you're probably going to lose anyway. It wasn't like because I picked the off meta pick, but then they also cater, like you said, where there's certain champs that are just completely unviable because of how they tune on the back end. But I don't like, so yeah, it'd be tough being like, I love playing this character. But then they like completely changed the way it plays. Like for me, it's like Aatrox. I used to love how like it dive got like life still. They completely reworked it, got rid of all that shit. Now he does like a little dash and like doesn't steal as much health. But yeah, so it's like they keep tuning things, and it's like I don't like this champ anymore. Even though it's like more mechanically sound for the meta, it's less fun to play. And like you see this like with Rainbow Six Siege, where they've put out a new champ, and then they're like, oh, let's, instead of boosting all our old champs, we're just going to nerf all the champs so they all equally suck, because we want like a slow, methodical, strategic gameplay instead of like fast, fun gameplay that people actually want, like things that people are enjoying. So I don't know. Yeah, sorry about that. You give your closing
good.
Jerry Springer
thoughts. You're good. No, I wanted your thoughts actually. So I was gonna say, let's, as a community and as like gaming, man, embrace the battle bits, man.
Bring more people.
Say no to the fucking like battle passes and developers adding this. There's like single player games with battle passes now, dude. Like that shit pisses me off. Like the season 1, every game has like 3 years of content. You don't need that for every single fucking game. Give me a great crafted single player story. End it at that. You know,
Shadows of Mordor
update it
2,
with time trials or some shit. Like, do if you want to continue doing it, but just give me a good product at first,
Battlefront.
man. Like, yeah, dude, it's too much, man. Like, I feel like, um, what happens in days where we could all jump on a game, play it, and not have to just have the FOMO of like, oh, I don't have this fancy headband, you know, and like that's what
Was
it's
that game that Arcane just dropped with the vampires? What I'm talking
Redfall.
about? Yeah.
Yeah,
What's up
yeah.
with that? What happened there? Do you think they were like hoping it would get canceled? And then they were just like,
They actually were. We'll do a whole
yeah.
episode on that next week. I have a lot to say about
All
that
right.
actually.
All
They
right, y'all.
but 100% they were hoping that Microsoft would cancel the game.
Yeah, they don't
Interesting
care. They're
thought.
like, games are service. Put it out.
Yep. Yep.
Halo is broken, but make sure that day one battle pass works.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. But yeah, man. What about yourself? Any thoughts on this and outside of the esport thing that you said? You think battle passes
Yeah,
should be?
it's tough, man. I don't know. Like I've seen a lot of people just talk about like, oh, it's about self control. Just don't buy it. I've always said that, but it's like, I don't know, my buddy at work told me, he was like, it'd be like if somebody was offering you drugs every single day, and they're like, at what point is like somebody's gonna be like, hey, maybe I will try this drug. Like that's basically what they're doing. They're kind of like preying on like your insecurities, your emotions, the psychology. They hire like PhDs. I don't know. I try and tell people about like a lot of the back end things that they do, how they change up like how you get matched with people, how they change the difficulty curves on the back end, how things are more powerful. It's like not in your head, like,
Yeah.
and then they like slowly and quietly like nerf things as well. Like, I don't know. It's tough, man. For me, I still just kind of go by the rule of fun. Like if you're enjoying something, if you like playing it, like I don't mind giving them like money. I think you should figure out what.
I was gonna say that as well because we've preached that on the pod quite a bit. It seems like we're going back on it. I'm not. I just think that not every game needs it. I
would say much like us setting goals and like reasonable expectations. I think you should, like, for me it's always been like the movie equivalent. I'm like, for every 2 hours of my time's worth about like $10 to entertainment. So if I'm getting like, if I play a game for like 60 hours and they didn't ask like a free to play type of game, I'm like, yeah, I don't mind giving them like 20-30 bucks. But I cap it around like 100 for me personally. It used to be like 60, but like I don't mind like doing like, who can pass up a sale, son? Like, so like I'll hit like 2 like sales or something on whatever to get like a power up or cosmetics. Like, I own a ton of League skins and stuff. But like I've played probably hundreds of hours of it. So to me, I'm like, I dropped like $100, So,
yeah. For me, it's level of effort for the developer versus like how much I play the game. New level, new character. Those are 2 things that I'm like, okay, I'll pay for that because that's legitimately the whole team's doing that,
backtracking.
Right?
For me, my caps, like the more I think about it, for like using League as like my benchmark, it's probably like $100 every 3 years to a game, any single game. Otherwise, like I usually cap out around like 40 to 60 for a year on any single title. But I don't know. I feel like most people don't even do those metrics. They don't really think about it. Like,
just like, fucking look at it.
Yeah. And like a lot of it, because it's so insidious, it's it's like $3, whatever. And they'll just like beep, but then they just keep doing it and not really think of like totals and like overall. So I don't know, man. It's fucking rough. And then they do like the next casino level of like you're buying like doodles and noodles and gems and all kinds of potions and
in-game currency
lotions.
Is the biggest fucking scam ever. So let me use, instead of giving me this dollar amount, give me my my gems to buy the things, and you never have enough. Like, fuck that.
You're just 100 gems short. All you need is 300 more.
Exactly.
And this one, we don't sell just 300. You have to buy it 800. So now you're going to be 400 short next time.
Exactly.
You're only 100 short. Yeah,
man. So it is what it is. It's the state of the industry, and I'm just saying, not every game needs it. And I'm like, now I'm personally a little wary of more multiplayer games that are just where that's more of the focus than the actual game itself.
Yeah.
And
I've been like this for years, dude. Probably like,
it seemed worse to me.
But continue to press don't buy, don't pre-order, don't buy day one. Try and wait. See how buggy, how broken the game's going to be. Like, I don't know. I feel like more and more people are going to like shift towards how I've been playing games. I usually don't even buy anything full price anymore because I don't know, Steam's conditioned me to wait for like the sales, and I have so many games in my back catalog. I don't know. It's kind of like one of the disparaging things about trying to make a game as well. Is like you're like, I'm competing with all games of all time, and like hundreds of more are being released every single
Yeah,
day.
yeah.
It's weird.
Get it. All right, man. On that note, next week's episode, we're gonna talk about Arcane and Redfall because that is one of the biggest clusterfucks that have happened in recent memory, and it's an amazing topic. So hopefully, I'll see you guys next
Have
week.
you played it?
I have. I did it. I did my due diligence.
Damn. All right.
So
I have it.
yeah.
All right.
So we'll talk about it,
Like,
dude.
share, subscribe. We out.
We
Peace.
out. Later. Chipmunk. Gimpy. Later.